Welcome to The Link. This is a program all about linking you with the resources in your community. At some point in time, you've likely seen a statistic or statement by a politician or economist stating the importance of small business to local communities. While small businesses generate new jobs and, according to the Small Business Administration, employ more than half of the working class in the U.S., they're also a valuable asset to the local community. We'll focus our attention today on owner Gary Palumbo and Farmington Jewelers, located on Route 4 in Farmington. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome. A lot of times the link focuses on nonprofits in the community, but we're doing some businesses because we think that that's very important to all of the resources in the community. It's not just the nonprofits, but the businesses as well. You were born in New Britain, but you were raised in Plainville.
That's correct.
So there's got to be a connection between your dad, Joe Palumbo,
Yes.
and Gary. So,
Yes. My dad was a jeweler in Plainville. He was owner of JP Jewelers. Then he reopened quite a few years later, coming out of retirement, and opened up Joe Val Jewelers.
Okay.
And that was on West Main Street. But in between all that, I opened up a store in New Britain. It was called Main Street Jewelers.
Main Street Jewelers, and you were there for almost 20 years.
Correct. Yeah.
And so, but before you got there, did you have to, after school, you went to school in Plainville?
Yes.
So after school in Plainville, were you working at the family store?
I did. I did. I worked for my dad for quite a few years, and basically to become a jeweler, it's an apprenticeship.
Yes.
There's really not a school to go to learn the trade of being a jeweler. So I learned on most of my skills under my dad. Diamond setter from Greece. Yes. His name was Costa Agapoglou.
Okay.
And I studied under him for quite a few years in setting. I also took some casting classes from a gentleman in Plainville. His name was Al Maynard. He's passed too. And I learned skills of casting. And it's quite an apprenticeship program.
You know, I was wondering about the trade aspect before we go into the Main Street jewelry store there in New Britain. How would somebody even get involved in being a jeweler today without?
Most people start out working for a jeweler, and if they like to trade, they do have classes now that do offer jewelry repair, jewelry marketing. Also, if you want to become a gemologist, there's classes in California, actually schools, GIA School of America, and also in New York City. I took most of my classes from New York.
You did?
Yes.
So, because you'd have to know so many, what would you have to know about a diamond to know that?
Well, there's a lot. There's so many different things on a diamond. But there's diamonds, there's colored stones, there's pearls, there's carats, different carat of gold. So it takes quite a while to get familiar with everything.
So did you kind of know intrinsic to yourself when you were young that you just kind of took to this, that you wanted? I mean, what made you make that decision that you were going to continue the family legacy?
I really didn't know. At first, when I went to the University of New Haven, I was going to actually become a police officer. I had an uncle that was in the government, and I had other cousins that were officers. But halfway through, I changed my mind and opened up a store.
So you did part of the schooling.
Yes, never finished though.
But you're still in some kind of civil service, really, because you are with the public all the time. We're going to talk about the customer base a little bit. So you went to New Britain, your dad was in Plainville, and you had your store, and we talked about the various such great stores that were in New Britain in a certain area.
Yes.
Some of them are still there.
Yes.
And you did that for 20 years.
Yeah, we were downtown for 20 years. I had a Models toy store next door to us, Daykill Studios. It was very thriving when we were in New Britain. And for a 20-year stay, it was definitely, the city was great to us. We went through quite a few different mayors, and we've seen ups and downs of the city. But New Britain we had a great 20 years there, and never regret being there a moment.
So you decided you were looking for a new home, and did your dad retire at that point?
Yes, my dad retired. I left jewelry, did a small hiatus for 3 years doing building controls, energy management systems.
Okay.
And I missed the jewelry, and I found a little space on Route 4. It opened up, and 15 years later,
15 years later, here you are.
Correct.
Gary, what attracted you to Farmington? What was some of the highlights that Farmington had to offer?
I mean, we've always, my wife and I, actually myself, we've always looked at Farmington. We lived in Burlington, and we wanted to move to Farmington, and we found a small house up in the Highlands, and we purchased it, and we bought the store a couple of years before we bought the house, and it worked out really well for us. It all fit well together. Farmington just has so much to offer that what we were looking for.
Yeah, and currently Farmington has an excellent economic development person in place, and they really do a lot for business. I know as a nonprofit in Farmington, they did a lot. They're very easy to work with, and I think welcome business into Farmington. Has the model of the store changed much from the model that you had?
No. And actually, we're actually on third generation of people coming into the store. Most of the people, our customers, did follow us from New Britain, and it's funny every day. We still gain customers every day, put it that way. But we still have people coming in from New Britain and following us. They're finding us. They're word of mouth, Facebook. It's unbelievable. It's great. We're very, very honored.
How do you market the jewelry store now? What are some of the marketing tools that you use? And I was going to ask you about social media.
We really don't do that much social media. Most of our marketing is word of mouth. That's where we put our money. It's right there. We give back to the community. We try to crew team, basketball. Anytime they're having functions and are looking for a donation, we make sure we make it available to different sports in town. It seems like it works for us.
So when you look over 25 years and you say, okay, what were people buying then at a jewelry store, and what are people buying now at jewelry stores? I mean, there's trends. The charm bracelets, came, and then they went,
sure.
and then the Pandora, and all of that. Right. So there's trends that happen, but overall, what are you seeing? People coming in, young couples coming in?
Our primary business is diamonds.
Diamonds.
Okay. That's what we love to sell customers. Basically, a couple comes in. It's a little different now. It's usually a couple that comes in. Before it was just a gentleman would come in and be looking for a ring. But a lot of times a gentleman will come in with a young lady now, and they kind of go over everything, and they usually pick out a couple pieces, and then the gentleman usually comes back and usually makes a decision on it. But it's fun. I mean, I love doing it.
So communities, we talked about at the beginning of the show, have their own unique character, and many of the businesses in either a walking vicinity or on Route 4, you have a lot of traffic coming down from Burlington, going to the highway, or going through Farmington. Farmington has an enormous pass-through amount of traffic. And small business owners have to be integral to that environment. So the businesses around you, do you have a merchants association or something that you work together as a group to help you all maintain your businesses?
Basically, our networking is that we make sure that we do business in town. And being in Unionville, section of Farmington, most of our customers like to shop in town. So they keep it local, and it really supports the merchants. Mm-hmm. And we try to promote shop local, and it works for us. We're very, very fortunate.
You have businesses on either side of you also.
I do. I have Happiest Inc. She does embroidering and sells Turkish towels, imports towels. And on the other side of me, I have Ray's Salon. And he's a barber. And they're both doing extremely well.
That's wonderful. Now, how do you continue to maintain a solid customer base?
It's all word of mouth, the growth. We just take care of our customers, and if you take care of the customers, they spread the word for us.
I read some reviews online, and what kept repeating itself over and over for your business was professional, kind, caring, someone that was diabetic that needed a bracelet, and they got the bracelet, and the bracelet was too big, and you fixed it for them, and they said, well, what do you want for that? And you said, I just want you to wear the bracelet.
Yes. I
don't want anything but for you to wear it. So when people come into your store, you know them by name, or if you don't know them by name, you're gonna know them by
Correct.
name.
Correct.
Versus, a large box store where, sales is the bottom line.
Yeah, and that's what makes us a little bit different than going to a large box store. Most of the time you do come back into a small store, and the gentleman who sold you or lady who sold you the piece is there. And it's nice, and we usually ask how the piece is doing and how the family's doing. It works out quite well. Another thing that we do always, and we could never charge for, is rosary beads. I have so many customers that come in with broken rosary beads. You can't charge for those.
Oh,
it's just,
okay. Yeah. And maybe this is handed down, and this is something that
yes.
you don't send them out.
No,
you fix
no,
them
we
there?
do everything in house. All the
You
repairs
do?
are done in house.
Okay, I was going to ask you about full service jeweler. Yes. What is a full service jeweler? What does that mean?
Well, we actually take in the repair, and actually we do the repair right there in house. If it's a prong and there's broken off of a diamond, we retip the prong or replace the head on the diamond. If it's missing a stone, I will match the stone and reset it. So we do everything right there in house.
Do you check diamonds?
Oh yeah. If a customer comes in and wishes to have their ring clean, we check it. We check the prongs, and it works out quite well for us.
When you buy white gold,
Correct.
like mine are white gold.
Yes.
Sometimes on the bottom, underneath here, it wears off and you almost see it starting to turn yellow gold.
Well, gold is mined out of the ground, 24 karat, and it's pure and it's yellow. To make white gold, you have to add elements to make it white. You add different elements. They're trying to get away from adding nickel now because some people have nickel allergies, but they have different elements that they add to make white gold. But sometimes it gives a little pitch, a little color of yellow to it. So we actually will polish the ring and we'll re-rhodium the ring. And it makes it look like brand new again. And it usually lasts about a year.
So is that wear?
Yeah, it's wear and tear.
That takes that down?
Yeah, it does. And it's micro scratches too that makes it a little darker. But usually a polish and rhodium will take care of that.
So full service means you do everything right there.
Correct.
So if somebody has an heirloom, you're not sending that out?
No, we don't send anything. We take care of everything. If there's something that has to be special cut, a stone to be matched, we always ask for approval if we have to send the stone out to be cut. But other than that, everything is done in-house.
There is something I wrote down that I wanted to ask you about that is the lost art of wax, something with a model?
Casting.
Okay, and what are you casting for?
Rings. If a customer comes in with a drawing or they've had a piece, and so we can actually sometimes take 3 rings and put those 3 rings together and make a ring that they've been looking for. But it's called lost wax casting. Right now the new trend is 3D image printing, CAD drawings. So a lot of the lost wax is going into the CAD drawings now. They actually generate a wax from a CAD drawing. So it's a new generation of jewelers taking over.
I was going to ask you, how did technology change the way you're doing business? So you look back at your dad's store. I don't know if he had access at the end of his time there in the store to the internet, but how has the internet and computers changed the way that you do business as a jewelry store?
I mean, we see more and more people actually spreading the word about us on the internet through FaceTime, and we really don't advertise on it. It's just basically word of mouth. We really don't advertise online.
Well, Facebook is a great resource because, and I went to your Facebook page today because I wanted to see some of the customers' comments back and forth, and you can see photos of the store. It lets people really have a window into your business. And there were some postings up there, but I think that if there's a pattern to you knowing that you're going to get repeat business from your customer base that's happy with what you're doing, then that's what you stick with, and you focus your efforts on your jewelry business.
Yeah, it's been working. It's been working for us for 30 years.
Yeah, so you're not going to change the model.
No, we're going to keep everything the way it is.
Do you track your competition, Gary?
No, there's enough business out there for everybody.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. So we're really we do our own thing. It works for us.
Now, how do you generate new ideas? Do you have to?
We do. We go to actually different shows. There's shows at the Javits Center in New York.
To see what's trending?
To see what's trending, see what the new items are coming out. We do actually get some publications through that show, new jewelry items that are being pushed. And also, we have salespeople that come in the store, and they usually will say, "Well, this is the newest item right now that's out." So a lot of times we'll try a sampling of it, and we'll see how it takes off. Connecticut is usually a little behind on fashion, so it usually takes us 6 to 8 months to catch up to speed. But we try to carry everything that's current.
So do you choose your vendors?
We do. In one case, I could have up to 30 different vendors in one case, different companies that we deal with. I try to pick out the best pieces that each company makes. That's the one thing bad about being a jeweler that actually is hands-on. You know the way things are made, and if you don't like the way they're made, you don't buy them.
Right.
So
right. And then you have to see what's going to sell in your area too.
Correct. Yeah.
You know, I mean, you're not going to bring in something that is beautiful, maybe something that's beautiful to look at, but if it's not going to sell.
Correct. Yeah, you have to know your market.
You do.
Yes.
And the cushion cut diamond, is that something that's new?
No, cushion cut's been around for quite a while. We're starting to see actually a little bit more on fancy shapes now. Ovals are gaining a popularity. It's funny. We'll go for runs on a certain shape, and princess cut was very popular for quite a few years, and cushion cut's coming back, but the round is still our most popular. You get the most brilliance out of a round diamond, and it works.
What is the difficult challenge of your business?
I think probably one of our hardest things is employment.
I was going to ask you about that, but you're a
Yeah.
small business, so you're not employing a huge base.
No,
because you're there.
Right. We basically run the store with part-timers. I'm there every hour of the day, but it's that's probably one of our biggest challenges. Most of the time, they're college students, or we have a couple ladies that help me out during the morning hours when the college students are in school. We've been very fortunate over the years. And I hear that from other jewelers too.
Employment.
Is
Is it
probably one of the
because reliability, or that, obviously if a customer comes in, you want that customer treated the way you would treat that customer, so you would expect your employees to follow your lead. Are those some of the issues?
No, I mean it's just hard to find employees.
Hard to find employees.
Yeah, I think everybody's trainable. People come in, and if you just stay in the store for a couple hours, I mean, you could probably pick up.
Right.
It's not the hardest thing. It's just getting the employees in the store.
We have a local hardware store, and they're employing retirees, and these retirees are loving it.
Yes.
Because they're getting out, they're getting to be around people, they have great work ethics, and they're trustworthy.
Yes.
If they tell you they're going to be there, they're going to be there. They're not going to steal from you. And they love being out there, and they have the time and the patience to talk with customers. And so I think that's a great resource. And many people were all healthier and living longer.
Correct.
They don't want to be retired at 70. They want to keep working.
Yeah, they want to keep
not
moving.
full time maybe,
Yeah.
but they want to keep busy. So if you generate a new idea for the store, how long will you stick with it before you say, you know what, it's not really working, so let's move on?
Well, yeah. It's like trends. It's like jewelry trends. Some trends take off and they run for quite a few years, and then other times they're short-lived.
What was the toughest thing for you to learn about the jewelry business when you were apprenticing with your dad?
I think probably the pave setting. Diamond pave setting is probably one of the hardest. It's extremely difficult. It's a lot of work. But other than that, I mean, it's something either you love it or you don't.
Have you seen the quality of watches change through the years?
Oh yes. We carry a Swiss line of watches. And years ago we carried Citizen, Seiko, but we brought a Swiss line in Tissot, and we're very happy with it. The workmanship seems a little bit better. They stand behind the watch, and they're the same prices now as an overseas model. So we've actually 100% now on Swiss watches.
Because I know the consumers out there will agree with me, probably if you're a watch wearer, that you've seen the change.
Correct.
You know, and it's like the price isn't going down, but the quality seems to
Correct.
be going down.
Correct.
You know, what advice would you give to a college student who's deciding whether they want to be an entrepreneur, or if they want, you know, go into business, or if they want to go work for somebody else?
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely say finish your college education. But there's nothing set in stone. I mean, I would definitely, if you have a dream and you wish to follow it, definitely, I would definitely try it. There's always other avenues that you can follow after. But if you have that dream, definitely. I mean, we've been very, very lucky for jewelry.
And if you have that dream, what are the top 3 things that you have to know that you've got to do? I mean, customer.
Right. Well, you have to have good work ethics.
Mm-hmm. What does that mean?
That means you're going to be there from the opening till close. You don't leave early because there's a party, or it's you put your hours in. First couple of years, you probably won't be bringing home a paycheck. It has to be reinvested into the store, in jewelry or even other things. If you have to take a loan, you know that's where the money has to go. But it's rewarding. It's been very rewarding to myself.
What has been the most satisfying moment that, when you look back at your career, what do you think? Opening the store in New Britain, taking that?
Yeah, I mean, taking the first plunge in New Britain, but I definitely ate a lot of gratitude. It's great every time a young couple comes in and we sell them an engagement ring. And then usually 6 months to a year down the road, they come back in and they usually want to pick up matching wedding bands. And you follow through the whole process with them of where they're getting married at, and it's unbelievable. It's definitely it's a great feeling. And then before you know it, they're coming in sometimes with family, and they're buying gifts for the wife for having the baby, and
Mother's Day.
And Mother's Day, and it's great. I really enjoy it.
You get to really see things evolve, don't you?
Yes, and we've never done that now for 3 generations for people.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Gary, who do you go to for advice?
Probably my dad still.
Do you?
Yeah, I'm very, very fortunate. My mom and dad are still around.
Does he come in?
He comes in probably to discuss things or drop off a bag of cookies my mom has made.
That's too tough to take.
but never really to sit behind a bench. Sometimes he gives me little tricks of the trade that, there's always tricks in doing something.
Yeah, like if you run into if you're working on something and it's just not working.
Sometimes I give him a call. And most of the time that's late at night when the stores is closed, and I'm there doing repairs at night, and I'll give him a call, and he usually asks, "You're still there working?" I said, "Oh, yeah, we're still finishing projects." And I'm very fortunate, very, very fortunate to have him around.
There's a Jewelers Association you talk to, so you could also pass ideas.
Correct.
Through other jewelers who are doing similar things to you.
Yeah, there's Jewelers Board of Trades, and actually in a lot of our publications that we get, even a lot of times for the newer watches or newer items that come out, they'll actually give you quick tips on setting or replacing pieces that are broken.
If someone has jewelry that they'd like to sell, a set of pearls, maybe it was handed down, it's just not speaking to them, it's not something they want. That's hard to do. What's the advice from a jeweler on that? I mean, people probably come into your store and say, would you buy these pieces? And do you ever buy estate pieces?
We do buy estate pieces.
But rare?
Yes, we buy mostly scrap gold, to be honest with you. Years ago when the scrap gold craze was out there and people were putting things in envelopes and mailing to companies for checks, that was probably one of the worst ways to scrap your gold. Probably your best bet is go to your local jeweler, because they're going to be there. They're not going to rip you off.
And if you don't want to buy the piece because you're not going to be able to do anything with the piece, then can you advise them about what maybe the next steps would be?
Yes, and there's different avenues to go, or even actually different jewelry stores that look for certain items. So a lot of times we can actually send a person in the right direction. But most of the time, I think if you go, same thing, shop local. I think that's your best bet for scrapping gold even.
Well, we're so glad that you came in today. Thank you for taking your time. I know you're a busy guy, but we had pictures during the program to show the outside of the store and the inside of the store and all the great things that you're doing over there. So it's nice to know what happens on a day-to-day basis at a jewelry store. So thank you so much for coming in, and on behalf of all of us at Nutmeg TV, until next time.